Thank you for joining us today. For nearly 25 years, the Organic Farming Research Foundation has hosted our annual benefit lunch at the Natural Products Expo West Trade Show. We're sad we can't be there together in person, but we are excited to be here celebrating virtually. OFRF is a national nonprofit organization that works to foster the improvement and widespread adoption of organic farming systems. We do this by funding on-farm research and organic systems, developing free educational materials to support the success of organic farmers, and advocating for federal policies and programs that'll advance the needs of organic producers.
We're so excited to have our beloved head chef of our annual luncheon here with us today, Chef Chris Blobaum, presenting his unique culinary take on one of today's themes, lentils. Chef Chris oversees the culinary teams at Legacy Ventures in Atlanta, Georgia, and has worked at restaurants and hotels across the country. Plus, he's been our Expo West luncheon chef for decades. It's widely known as the best meal at Expo West each year, and it's 100% organic.
We're going to hear from Chef Chris in just a moment, but in the meanwhile, you might be wondering why lentils matter. In 2019 and 2020, OFRF made several research grants to fund innovative studies on how to incorporate lentils on organic farms in Montana as a means of diversifying the crop rotations, improving soil health, and supporting the economic well-being of farmers. The research has been conducted by Dr. Jed Eberly, who's an assistant professor in agronomy and soil microbiology at Montana State University's Central Agricultural Research Center.
But before we invite Jed to talk more about his research, did you know that lentils are the oldest pulse crop known to mankind? The first evidence of them was discovered near the Euphrates River in 8000 BC. They are one of the earliest domesticated crops and have found their way into food systems around the world. There are hundreds of varieties of lentils, though most people only know about a handful. Lentils are actually a staple crop and food for millions across the world.
But lentils are more than just a global staple. They're part of a larger solution to mitigating climate change by building soil health. This is seen in Jed's research, where he's incorporating lentils and other pulses into wheat fallow crop rotations. This can serve to maintain healthy levels of nitrogen in the soil while diversifying crop rotations. This increases resilience and improves soil's ability to sequester carbon from the atmosphere.
Okay, enough about lentils from us. Let's hear directly from Jed.
My name is Jed Eberly. I'm an assistant professor at the Montana State University Central Agricultural Research Center. My research here is focused on agronomy and soil microbiology. We have these global scale problems like climate change and food security and issues like that. And we can tie all of that to these micro scale processes in the soil. In recent years, there's been a growing interest in understanding what's going on below the soil. And that's really what my research program is focused on. From the standpoint of the soil and soil health in general, diversity has a variety of benefits. In conventional agriculture, that process has essentially been replaced with nitrogen fertilizer inputs. But in a natural system, as you would find in a native prairie or something like that, the nitrogen inputs there are primarily going to be dependent on nitrogen-fixing microorganisms that are present in the soil and forming these relationships with the plants. Farmers are becoming aware of this, and they're looking for alternatives, ways that they can diversify away from simply a wheat fallow rotation. So incorporating pulses and other legumes into crop rotations can help reverse this trend of decoupling these processes as you start to introduce these nitrogen-fixing microorganisms back into the soil. Again, from a diversification standpoint, if you have a system that has not had legumes in for many years, there may be few to none of these nitrogen-fixing symbiotic microorganisms present. So with the introduction of legumes, you're bringing these back into the soil. Generally, when farmers are planting legumes, they'll inoculate the seed with rhizobia, which are nitrogen-fixing strains of bacteria. And essentially, these nitrogen-fixing bacteria form a symbiotic relationship with the plant. And there's a mutually beneficial exchange that occurs between them. The plant is providing nutrients and energy for the microbes, and the microbes in turn are fixing atmospheric nitrogen and making it plant available. When we're thinking about building soil health, it's really important to remember that adding in crops like lentils is really just one component of a more holistic approach to building soil health. So I feel it's a really exciting time to be in the field of soil microbiology. I also think that on-farm research builds credibility with the growers. They can identify both with the successes and the failures that are encountered when the work is being done on their own land or on their neighbors. And that's one of the things we've seen with the work that we've done with OFRF. We're out there with the farmers are out observing our plots. They're able to see that we're dealing with weed issues just like they deal with. And it really increases the relevancy and the credibility of that research with them. And it's been a very productive relationship both with the growers and with OFRF. Ideally, a grower would have a diverse rotation where maybe he's growing wheat one year, lentils another year, perhaps every so many years he's incorporating a cover crop to get that biomass back into the soil to help build his organic matter. Lentils have been in cultivation for a long time. Personally, that's something that's really developed for me only in the last few years that I've started incorporating pulses into my diet. And yeah, I love lentils and learning how to cook with lentils. So there's sort of a personal example, but I think that's becoming more common, and that's driving the demand for lentils as a crop. I would like to think, though, that as consumers continue to be educated in the benefits of pulse crops like lentils, there'll be greater consumer demand, which in turn will drive the need for more acres to be put into lentil cultivation. From the side of the growers, though, I think in addition to the market and the profitability that they need there to be able to successfully grow them, just an increasing awareness of the benefits of diversifying their systems and the benefits of incorporating a crop like lentils. In general, the more diverse your microbial community is, the more resilient it is to disturbances. And organic practices are one way I think that we can begin to mitigate that by moving away from these high nitrogen fertilizer applications into more sustainable sources of nitrogen. And along with that, incorporating this entire suite of soil health principles and taking this holistic approach to agriculture, where we're doing some of the things we've been discussing, like incorporating crops such as lentils, adding in cover crops, minimizing tillage as much as possible, perhaps bringing livestock back into the system and planting perennials. I think so. Conventional farming practices really have contributed to the loss of organic matter in soils. And it's not easy to reverse that trend. But some of the things, like we've discussed, incorporating cover crops and increased cropping diversity, are steps in the right direction to try to rectify that. And it's really important when you think long-term and the sustainability of these systems. There's a variety of estimates out there on the water holding capacity in soils with increasing organic matter. But for each 1% increase in the organic matter in soils, there's a substantial increase in the water holding capacity. And that has huge implications in a dry environment, especially when you're facing drought. If you can move that organic matter even a few percentage points, that has the potential to make the difference between a crop succeeding and a crop failing. There's a much closer connection, and it's what motivates me to do organic research, is really wanting to understand the processes there so that we can ensure we're implementing practices that truly are sustainable in the long term and contribute to the overall health of the ecosystem. And just a quick anecdote, I was recently visiting with a local farmer who grew lentils for the first time this past year. And he's planning to grow them again this year. So I was really excited to hear that. And in talking to him, I was curious about how this compared with growing winter wheat, because winter wheat is his main cash crop. And he felt that with his first year in lentils, his profit per acre was about the same as winter wheat. So he's planning to continue growing lentils. So that was just a good reminder for me of the practical impact of the work that we're doing. And we're really excited about the outcomes from this work. Already our results from the first 2 years have been instrumental in obtaining a larger grant that's going to allow us to expand this work and look at a lot of additional factors in addition to the seeding and inoculant rates. So we're really excited about what we have planned for the next few years.
Thank you so much, Jed, for sharing with us. We're excited to see where your research goes and proud to be part of the journey. As promised, we'll now have Chef Chris Blobaum explore the practical uses for lentils in your home, namely 2 fun and delicious recipes he's going to share with us.
Hi, my name is Chris Blobaum. I am here today to do a demo on lentils and working with the Organic Farming Research Foundation. And a little bit about my background. I'm a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America. I've worked for Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts, Auberge Resorts. I had my own restaurant in Santa Monica, which we focus heavily on organic food and farm to table. I'm currently the Vice President of Food and Beverage with a group called Legacy Ventures, and we run and develop hotels and restaurants in 4 states. And anyway, I'm excited to be here today to do this from beautiful Atlanta, and I'd like to get started. I'm going to show you a few types of lentils today. This is a split red lentil. This one cooks and becomes soft when it's cooked, and it cooks about 15-20 minutes. It's used in dals and as a thickener. Today I'm going to use it in a smoothie, so it'll totally break down. This one here is a green lentil, and it's one I'm going to use today also, and it holds its integrity when you cook it, and you can kind of see that. They are like great in a salad. They're wonderful as a side dish. The black lentils also hold their integrity when you cook them, and they are great like with if you're going to do a plating and then you have a piece of fish or a piece of meat, protein on that, they'll hold that. They're also wonderful in salads because you can see them, they still maintain their texture. Lentils are a type of pulse, and that includes chickpeas and field peas, and this one has incredible amount of protein in them. For a half a cup, you get about 12 grams of protein. For the first dish, I'm going to make the green lentils, and what I need is lentils. There's a half a cup. I'm going to add 1.5 cups of water. And so that's 3 to 1, and most of the lentils will cook that way, 3 parts water, 1 part lentils. I'm going to cover this, and then I'm going to turn on the fire, and I'm going to bring that to a boil and drop it very slow simmer. And then it'll cook in about 15 minutes, 18 minutes. And we're looking for it to be tender, but still hold its texture. So when the lentils are done, you'll see most of the moisture is gone, but we still want to drain a little bit of that moisture off. Put it in a strainer. And that's going to yield about 1.5 cups. For the lentil cakes, I'm going to take onions and garlic, and I'm going to saute it with a little bit of good olive oil. And this is just to soften and make them fragrant. And this will take 2 or 3 minutes. So we're sauteing the onions and garlic until soft and fragrant. And we're going to add them to the bowl. And then to the bowl, we're going to add lentils that we've cooked, 1 egg, some fresh herbs. I'm going to zest just a little bit of lemon, so organic lemon that I've washed, a little fresh zest in there. I'm going to add my panko breadcrumbs. A panko is a Japanese-style breadcrumb, and you could also make your own with dried breadcrumbs. The herbs here, I use a little cilantro and chives, but it could be dill, it could be tarragon, whatever you like. Continue mashing. You want it to get it so you'll see the egg and the panko breadcrumbs will help start to bind it. Then I'll take a small scoop. It could be a large scoop, but I'm using a small scoop. And you will form these into a patty. So now we're going to take and shape these patties. I have a nonstick skillet on that I am warming right now. We're going to saute those in. Like that. So for the cakes that we made, we need to saute them. And I'm going to use a little bit of olive oil in a preheated pan. And then we're going to add the cakes to the pan there. And these will saute for about 2 minutes per side, relatively quick. Get a little bit of color on them. So these have been cooking about 2 minutes. I'm going to flip them to the other side. You see they're a little bit crispy, get nice color. We're going to cook these for another 2 minutes on this side, and then they're done. So these cakes have been cooking for about 2 minutes on the second side, and they are now ready. I'll take and put them here for a second while we build our salad. They smell great. And that's our lentil cakes. For the curry vinaigrette, I've assembled honey, Dijon mustard, apple cider vinegar, a little bit of lemon, some curry, some good olive oil, and some garlic. The garlic, I'm going to use the whole cloves. Just go ahead and pop those out. We'll add about 4 or 5 of those to the dressing. Personally, I love garlic. I'll put a good amount of garlic in there. There's 3, we'll go 1 more. For the curry vinaigrette that we're going to serve with the lentils, I'm going to put everything in the blender and I'll blend it very easily. So I'm going to start with some good apple cider vinegar. Add a little bit of honey. Dijon mustard. Garlic cloves. Good curry powder. It's one of my favorite things. And then we're going to slowly blend this. So for the curry vinaigrette, I'm now going to add some good olive oil, nice and slow. To emulsify it. This is my favorite dressings. It goes with just about anything, particularly with seafood and vegetables. So I often make this more than what I ever need. Take a look at it. There it goes, nicely blended. For the lentil cakes, I like to put a little bit of a yogurt sauce. And so I've used yogurt, cutting some fresh chives. Add a little bit of garlic. Squeeze half a lemon in there. And mix it up. Again, you could use any herbs you like. I like the chives, kind of like a mild onion flavor. This is going to go on top of the lentil cakes when we serve it. So for the lentil cakes and plating, I take 2 warm lentil cakes. I put a little dollop of the herbed yogurt. And then I like baby kale. It's got wonderful flavor. And I toss it with a little bit of the curry vinaigrette. And then there's your dish right there. I'm going to make a lentil, cucumber, apple, kale smoothie that's amazing for breakfast. And I'm going to show you a couple things with that. One is the kale. This is some beautiful organic kale. This is a lacinato variety, which I like, or it's got the ribs on it. And I remember touring a farm in California, and it was fields of this, and you could hear this constant squeaking as the wind blew by. It sounded like millions of crickets, and the whole field sounded like that. It was pretty crazy. So then to clean these, though, you're going to reverse, start at the base like that, and grab your fingers and go like that. So we're going to remove the ribs, and then you got pieces like this left. That goes pretty quick. This I've already washed. And it's still squeaky. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Take some of this, then I'm going to chop it up a little bit. This will help it when it's blending in the blender. I'm looking for a good cup of this. To assemble the smoothie, I'm going to add yogurt. And this is Greek-style yogurt with a little bit of vanilla in it. Got a little splash of fresh squeezed lemon juice. I got my cooked red lentils, again, cooking them in about 3 parts to 1, so the 3 cups of water to 1 cup of lentils. Got a banana, organic banana. We got cucumbers. This is an English cucumber. I like the English cucumbers because the skin's a little thinner and also less seedy. Got a beautiful apple here. Add the apple to it. I'm going to add about a cup of kale. You could probably almost reverse this and make this into a salad. I'm going to add a little bit of honey. And then I like to add like a little bit of green superfood. So this one here is moringa powder, but it could be spirulina or other super greens. Put a little bit of that in there. I got half a cup of water. I've got some crushed ice. And we're going to blend this. So the lentils in this one is going to help thicken it and certainly add protein. Scrape down the sides real quick. Actually, it smells pretty good. And there we go. So to plate this, I'm going to take the smoothie. And pour it in a glass. And then you can choose to garnish it or use a big straw in there. That's it.
We're so grateful that you tuned in to learn more about what we do at the Organic Farming Research Foundation, hear a little bit about soil health and lentils, and learn a couple of fun ways to cook them.
Our work wouldn't be possible without your support, as we fundraise for each and every dollar that we use to provide research grants, educational resources, and federal advocacy for farmers. If you're able to donate today, please go to ofrf.org/donate. The luncheon event is normally our largest fundraiser of the year, so we hope you will contribute in lieu of the event. We're extremely grateful to those who made this video possible. Thank you.